all give thanks to thee, all praise to those who live in peace. Ask of the beasts, and they shall teach you the beauty of the earth. Ask of the trees, and they shall teach you the beauty of the earth. Ask the flowers, and they shall teach you the beauty of the earth. Ask of the wind, and it shall teach you the beauty of the earth.
Spirit is rich here. Do you feel it?
Yes.
I feel it. And when I feel it, I cry. Who is the founder of the Tao, or the one that came forth to talk about it? I can't pronounce his name. Laos. What you said? Okay, we'll go with that. But he said that crying is a form of prayer, the most sincere and humbling form of prayer. Something to that effect. I'll bring in his quote next time. But it is true. When one cries from a authentic, sincere, heartfelt place, that is a form of prayer. But that's not what I've come to talk about this morning. For nearly 2 years, I've been speaking about, everything that I've been speaking about has all been leading to one collective message. And that is the message of the shift of awakening. This will always be at the heart of the messages that I bring to you here at the Center of Universal Light. In preparation for this Sunday's meeting, and after a powerful wave of emotional confirmation, I discovered that this is why I'm here. This is why Spirit has led me to Cottonwood, Arizona. Today, with the help of Jeff at DivineCosmos.net and Terry Otterly, a channel for Saint Germain and host of the GreatShiftOfAwakening.com, who's with us today, I will bring together all the concepts that I've been covering since April 2017. And I hope to present them in a powerful and concise way to reveal why upheaval is happening and how we can become part of the birth of the new earth. Now, we're all aware that some very unusual things are going on around the world. Strange things are happening in current world events and with the climate and earth changes, including the seismic earthquake waves that buzzed around the world recently. Plus, the planet's poles are moving towards a flip. Earth's North Pole is creeping northward by about 40 miles a year. Hang on. The cold Arctic air that moved into the continental USA. That's pretty bizarre. We're experiencing both extreme heat, fire, and cold. Global carbon emissions reached a record high in 2018, woohoo! Rising to an estimated 3.4% in the U.S. alone. We are in deep trouble with climate change. So says the Secretary General of the United Nations. Then, of course, there are the revelations being uncovered like a foreign country interference in our national elections. Mass human migrations, return of the nuclear arms race? Really? Whew. You know, I got an email from a man that said his high for the week was being asleep. And his low was being awake. And yet we are fortunate to live in a time when the greatest shift in human consciousness has hit critical mass and passed the point of no return. It's been building since 2004, slowly but surely, and now it's about to kick into high gear. Hold on. The next decade or so will be a period that creates enormous change and undoubtedly turbulence as well. But we have the capacity to rise above the fracas. Think of this as the process of humanity going into labor as it gives birth to the new earth. The new earth reality. Today I offered what I have learned and believe are 7 keys to smoothly and successfully making the transition to the new earth and becoming part of a wonderful new era for humanity called the shift of awakening. Before I get into the practical advice of the 7 keys, let's explore how there is an awareness that a shift is even taking place. A shift to higher consciousness. How do we know that? The shift and the ascent of humanity. The Earth and our entire solar system are being bathed in powerful cosmic energy, causing the base frequency of the planet and everything on it to ascend. How do we know this? Because there's something called the Schumann resonance that I invite you to look into yourself by visiting the CUL website for links to informational videos. But simply put, it's a frequency that resonates between Earth's surface and the ionosphere. In other words, it's a wave of electromagnetic frequency. And we live within this resonance cavity. Scientists have found that our brainwave activity is in tune with the resonance of this wave. Our brains are literally entrained by it. The resonance is 7.86 hertz, which corresponds to our low alpha brainwave state and to our upper theta brainwave state. These are the brainwave states of meditation. The stable synchronization has a direct effect on our thinking, our emotions, our memory, intelligence. In other words, our brain is like an FM radio receiver. The Schumann resonance seems to be rising, especially since the start of 2014 as tracked by scientists. If the Schumann resonance is increasing, what will happen to our brain waves? Right now, you and I here today, we're experiencing the beta brainwave state in order to talk, to work, to get things done, and that is more rapid than the 7.86 because beta is somewhere between 7 and 14 hertz. People who experience emotions of unconditional or pure love and oneness are experiencing the gamma brainwave state. Gamma are the highest frequencies at 40 hertz. And when they sweep over a person, the entire brain feels like everything is working in divine light and order. More love and compassion equals more gamma waves. Is our Earth trying to drag our consciousness up to the gamma range? So what is gamma brainwave like? They're the fastest brainwave frequency with the smallest amplitude, the smallest waves. They are associated with the feeling of blessings or bliss, and with peak concentration, extremely high levels of cognitive functioning. At first, gamma brainwaves can cause us to feel anxiety because we're not used to it. But with regular production, these brainwaves can help reduce stress, anxiety, depression, while improving happiness. People who meditate often not only achieve higher levels of compassion due to increased production of gamma brainwaves, it also creates the environment for a happy life. Since 2014, the Schumann resonance has been spiking. At first, it went from 7.86 to 14 hertz. Then, in January 2017, it spiked to 36 hertz. Later that same year, on Easter Sunday, April of 2017, which was the first time that I spoke here at the brand new Center of Universal Light, it went up to an amazing 90 hertz. I can't be sure that I caused it. But if asked, I'll take credit for it. It's not good to stay in these ranges, however. But what it is essentially doing is opening up our minds to higher information and processing. But at the present time, this is also raising our anxiety levels. This is an explanation that is literally the translation of higher vibration. This shows an actual manifestation of what higher vibration really means. It appears that the earth itself is transitioning from what some spiritual leaders are calling the third dimension, or 3D, to the fourth dimension, or 4D. But the scientific community is actually calling this the solar shift. I'm calling it the shift of awakening, or the shift of the birth of a new earth, but all the titles are correct. They all mean the same thing, and here's why. The earth is experiencing a weakening cosmic magnetic field. What we're seeing in correlation with the whole 2012 or the golden age is that the Earth's magnetic field is weakening heavily, and the output of our sun is also weakening. This allows more cosmic energy and frequencies like the Schumann to affect us more and more. So what is this all about? It's about the ascension process, or the solar shift that we are undergoing right now, even as we are here. This is the Hopi blue star prophecy. What is happening here is that our sun is going to make a quantum leap of evolution of its own. And what Jordan Sather has postulated here is that this spiking of the Schumann is saturating us with all this energy to get us ready for the solar shift. There is very good scientific proof that a quantum shift is imminent. With the weakening magnetics between the Earth and the Sun and the Schumann resonance saturating us more so, it could be that the Schumann is prepping our consciousness, getting us ready to receive higher levels of downloads to prepare us for the solar shift. As I said earlier, that magnetic north and south poles are shifting again. Every 800,000 years, the poles flip-flop. And science is telling us that we're due for another one. But when the solar shift occurs, maybe the Schumann will actually bump up the entire planet to a new harmonic, and we are being prepared for that. Maybe our brains are starting to resonate at a higher frequency now, so that when we become more accustomed to that, we can do it without the anxiety that comes from those higher gamma levels. There's a lot of things that can be speculated about here, but I want you to be aware of this in order to help us understand what the heck is going on. Plus, there are some very important things coming our way. So today, we are thinking about the solar shift and how to best prepare ourselves for it. The simple answer is to keep yourself mentally grounded and physically healthy. That's one way to navigate these changes, but I also have some deeper things to tell you about that will not only help you navigate the changes, but avoid the turmoil, chaos, upset, anger that could ensue. This energy is triggering awakenings and shifting of consciousness of people all over the world. Our consciousness shifts into higher perspectives, and as we do that, we are taking our first baby steps towards transcending this realm of duality and separation. Show us the first picture, Kimberly. Hello, Kimberly. Would you please pick up?
Got it.
Would you please pick up and show us the first picture? Oh, there it is. Okay, good. All right. This is an artist's rendition of the Earth being bombarded with cosmic frequencies and waves of energy. Even though the collective consciousness of humanity is ascending, many people remain locked into 3D consciousness. Some are just too invested to let go. This level of consciousness focuses on differences, separation, and limitation, and expresses as fear, self-serving, and controlling behaviors like us against them, like a dog-eat-dog mentality. The ultimate result of which is the creation of a world characterized by competition, conflict, and suffering. Those that can break free of the 3D consciousness will have the pleasure of experiencing the birth and growth of a wonderful new era of humanity, one characterized by cooperation, harmony, peace, and prosperity for all. The key to participating in the new earth reality is to attain and maintain heightened levels of consciousness. I'll be giving you some excellent tools with the keys to making the shift in a couple of minutes. But right now, let's see what to expect during the transition period. You can expect the next decade or two to be a period of unprecedented revelations and change. Many startling and even disturbing revelations and disclosures will unfold, I'm sure. Look for revelations about fraud in the global banking system, as well as UFO and ET secrecy and their actual presence here. Plus the suppression of free energy and other important technologies that are being kept from us. Some people could become shocked and angry by what they learn. There will be turbulation as the foundation of people's beliefs are shaken to the core, and our existing institutions and systems are rocked. How extensive this turbulation will be is impossible to predict, but one thing is for sure. Your state of consciousness determines whether and to what extent you will become entangled in it. Two worlds, one playing field. You know, many religions preach the theory of the rapture or the ascension, where, for instance, all Christian believers who are alive will rise in a rapture along with the resurrected dead believers into heaven and join Jesus, or that Jesus will return to lead or guide them. However, contrary to what some people believe about the trans-dimensional shift of Earth, no one is going anywhere. Those who remain in 3D consciousness do not disappear, and neither do those who have evolved to 4D Earth reality. They don't disappear either. We all remain visible to each other, and we will all appear to be on the same playing field. Despite appearances, it will be more like two separate worlds coexisting in the same place. Third density consciousness will play out as the fall of the old world and its mentalities die off. This will be witnessed by those of us who have moved beyond 3D consciousness. But those who are stuck in 3D consciousness won't only witness it, they will become directly involved and directly experience it and some of its most associated unpleasantness. At the same time, those that have transcended beyond to 4D consciousness will experience the birthing of a wonderful new world, and the worst of any unpleasantness is likely to pass us by. Many of us are well on our way to transcending 3D consciousness and have released many outmoded and limited beliefs, buried negative emotions and fears, but all of us still have work to do. It's going to be challenging times ahead, but here are the 7 keys to successfully making the shift. These are the 7 things that we must do to help us avoid stumbling and ascend into the 4th dimension so that we can become part of the birth of the new earth. Number 1, release your emotional baggage. Every soul who chose to have a human experience knew that there would be separation from their divine source. And the earth game would entail experiences that could lead to some very painful emotional experiences. To cope with it, many of us have deeply buried lots of emotional pain. Pain that we have accumulated not only in this life, but in past lives that we have brought forward with us. An integral part of the awakening process and shift of consciousness for humanity is the surfacing of our deeply buried emotions. Has anybody besides me been experiencing that? This surfacing of emotion gives us the opportunity to address and release all emotions, as well as forgive all those involved, especially forgiving ourselves. These buried emotions are low vibration, negative, heavy energies trapped in the energy fields of our bodies. They are commonly referred to as shadows today, which are defined as parts of ourselves that we hide, repress, and ignore because they are associated with feelings of shame, guilt, and anger. As the base frequency of Earth and everything on it rises, these buried emotions that we keep tightly anchored in the 3rd dimension will start popping up. And this could adversely affect our physical and mental and emotional health. It is known that the shadows if they're not addressed and reintegrated back into our lives with love, acceptance, and forgiveness, they will ultimately lead to a game over for us. Another problem related to unreleased emotional baggage is that it will trigger the manifestation of increased adversity in your life. Because the frequency rate of everything around us is increasing, we are manifesting quicker. That's why we are starting a manifestation workshop at the end of this month to help us learn how to guide this process for our best and for the best of everyone else in our lives. So we're manifesting both good and not so good at a much faster rate. And any of these pent-up negative emotions will draw adversity into our lives quicker as well. We see this adversity happening every day, don't we? Yeah. As our emotional baggage is surfacing, it is giving the appearance that the world is worsening rather than improving. We must shed this baggage. Because once it is all cleared out, then the state of our lives and the world will begin improving and becoming more harmonious within our energy field. Ultimately, we won't complete the shift to a higher dimensional consciousness without releasing all of our emotional baggage. So get busy. You simply cannot stay with the new earth if you do not release all your emotional baggage. It's lower frequency energy, and that will keep you anchored in the 3D. Although most people think that emotional baggage is just memories of bad experiences, it's much more than that, and has a slew of detrimental effects that most are unaware of. Our emotional baggage is very real, and unbeknownst to us, causes profound negative effects on the quality of our health, relationships, happiness, success, and more, including whether or not we'll be able to continue participating in the ongoing ascension process. Some of the methods used to release and heal emotional baggage is sound therapy. We have sound therapy concert coming up. There's third-party removal like theta healing that I do. And as I learned today, we have 3 other theta healers here. Wave your hand. Hold your hands up there. We have Barry in the middle, Christy, and Suzanne on the end. Suzanne is my theta healer teacher. I call her my mentor because she helped me through a very critical point in my life when I was at rock bottom. I remember walking into the first class of basic theta healing in Sedona, and I said to her, I hate the Bible, I hate Christianity, I hate Mormonism, I hate what it did to my parents, and I hate what they did to me. And she said, oh, I can see you've got issues. Serious issues, let me say. And so I had been looking, I had been asking for help because there was just me, the door of suicide, and change. And the choice was clear. So this came into my life at a perfect time. And so, along with theta healing, there's NLP therapy, which Kimberly does. There's crystal healing therapy that Terry Otterly does. There's regression therapy. There's emotional code method. There's the Sedona method. There's access bars and the emotional freedom technique, EFT or tapping, which we're going to be learning about with John and Sue Love in the manifestation workshop that starts on the 29th.
Arvel, it's the 1st, not the 29th.
February,
There's no 29th.
there's no 29th this year?
No, that is 26th.
26th? All right. I'm glad we got that cleared up. Because we'd have had a leap a year to get to that workshop. Okay. I invite you to go to the See Well website and under blogs and learn more about the detrimental effects of trapped negative emotions and how to rid yourself of them. Check out the great article there by spiritual author Deepak Chopra on how to release your past and return to love. Number 2, maintain sacred neutrality. Nanda spoke about this with the word. Find a way not to be drawn into negativity that is rampant on our planet right now. There are plenty of people whose awareness has not yet expanded and are still living in fear and negativity. Do not get drawn into the confusion, mayhem, and nonsense that may ensue as the old begins to crumble. Stay detached as you watch the drama play out. Continue to be a living example of the new level of awareness. When can you say, what can we say to someone who tries to draw us into a conversation that we know is not going to end well? You could say something like, thank you. Okay, gotta go. Or, I see. I didn't know that. Okay, got to go. Or you could say, well, that's just not my perspective, but I hear what you're saying. Okay, got to go. Don't let them hold your attention. Break in and just say, got to go. But what do you do if you're triggered by them? Do not react. Of course, that's what we want to do, is react. Instead, take a deep breath and say, okay, give me a minute. Walk away and don't come back until you are sure of why you got triggered. Being triggered means a shadow has come up for you. This is a perfect opportunity to get rid of more emotional baggage. Usually the shadow comes up because and we're unaware of it. That's why we're triggered and we want to react. But this is just indicating that we have an unmet need. Then return when you understand what your unmet need is, what the shadow is. For instance, I was just telling the men at the men's groups, I have two that I go to. One is a Cottonwood group and one in Sedona. And I got triggered by the shadow I call, no one listens or understands me. It's a childhood belief. Because I grew up, like many of you did, in a household where children were to be seen and not heard. So I was never allowed to express myself. I didn't even know how to communicate when I left home. So when I got around people that seemed to ignore me or didn't hear what I was carefully trying to say to them or didn't remember it, I felt discounted again. I felt snubbed. And so little Arvel, sword and shield. Sword and shield, baby. I'll cut you. So I had to talk down little Arvel, And when I came to the realization of this, then I could understand why I had become angry in this instance. And once we understand where we're coming from and why, then we can return to the situation and use the compassionate communication steps that we learned in the workshop last year from Scott and Lisa, who were just here last Sunday. And these are 4 steps, real easy. Well, I'm going to add a 5th, but I'll say that at the end. Number 1, state the facts. No judgments. Number 2, then say how that makes you feel. What are your emotions? What are you feeling? Number 3, what needs do you have that are not being met? And number 4, make a request of the person. And number 5, say, okay, gotta go. Don't be drawn into the fray and drama of those who do not want to let go of the old ways and the old world. Don't be drawn into drama of those who are well-meaning people who are outraged and disturbed by revelations, or the actions of others who allow themselves to become embroiled in the drama. Remember, this is their choice, not yours. Stay neutral. Stay centered in higher consciousness and keep the drama at bay. Stay out of the fray. And focus your energy on maintaining your heightened perspective. Focus your energy on being an example of new consciousness. Make a stretch to act loving even if you don't feel loving. Do whatever you can, however small, to contribute to creating the new paradigm wherever you are, at your job, in your community, with your families. No matter what happens, stay neutral and calm. Be the eye in the center of the hurricane as the storm rages around you. Make every effort not to engage in the drama. Otherwise, you give energy to it and you make it worse. Remain centered in your higher perspective, principles, and ideals. then you'll be then you will be able to see the calm begin and take place around you. We want to avoid the temptation to judge and condemn those embroiled in the drama, on either side, good or bad, regardless of whether their actions seem justified or not. Judgment and condemnation never serve to heal these situations. Be a living example of sacred neutrality, calmness, positivity, non-judgment, and love in the face of the storm. If someone asks you, how are you maintaining such calmness, such stability, and such positive outlook? Humbly and quietly share from your heart your perspective on the bigger picture. And this is how we can be of great service to the world in the times ahead. Remember that this is a journey and an adventure that our soul chose. Even if you don't remember why right now, there certainly was a reason why you chose it, why we all chose it. The challenges we are facing can be seen as unexpected chaos and lead to feelings of despair, or they can be viewed as the anticipated and needed catalyst for our individual and collective spiritual growth, which leads to feelings of joy as we attain new levels of understanding and awareness. Number 3, send unconditional love and forgiveness to everyone involved. As we begin to witness the fall of the old world and the mayhem that may ensue, 3D consciousness plays out, it's imperative that we send everyone involved unconditional love and forgiveness. That includes Donald Trump. Send it to innocent bystanders. Send it to those who we may view as unenlightened, that allowed themselves to get caught up in it. And even send it to those that you may view as self-serving and dark, that may have even been the instigators. As you observe the world in conflict and violence, remind yourself of your core principles and values. Rather than reacting with judgment and condemnation, consciously choose to respond with love and forgiveness. Forgive everyone involved and send as much healing love as you can to them. Do it in any way you know how, any way that resonates with you. Just do it. Unconditional forgiveness and love is the secret sauce in the recipe of fourth dimensional consciousness. It holds the power to heal the entire world. Jesus knew it. Martin Luther King knew it. The Beatles knew it. And Buddha said, hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule. Number 4, accept that the old will fall and focus on creating the new. We are birthing a new world, a new paradigm. As part of this process, much of the old will fall. But what will sprout up in its place are the very things that we are creating here at CUL together. This is the grassroots growing up right between your feet right now. Don't get too concerned about the fall of the old. Let it go. The old ways must wither and die to make room for the new ways. Socrates knew this hundreds of years ago. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but building the new. Like the plants that grow in your garden. When fall and winter comes, they wither and die, right? Then they rot in the ground. But they enrich the soil. They must pass away and make room for the new growth of spring. In spring, the seedlings sprout anew. You are the seedlings. The seeds of the new world are being sown by you and I. Focus on the wonderful garden that we are going to create together. The new paradigm that we are birthing. If the seeds that fell all spent all of their time trying to stop their parents from withering and dying, they might very well exhaust themselves and be able to sprout anew in the spring. Number 5, maintain the highest version and vision of a smooth and effective shift. Even though the transitional period may likely be turbulent, its extent is by no means set in stone. Do not fall into the trap of imagining the worst. You are a creator, and we are co-creating our reality with our thoughts. So make sure you steadfastly envision only the best outcomes for everyone involved, and trust that by living squarely in the new consciousness, the worst of any turbulence will pass you by. One of my favorite spiritual books, called Oneness, offers a very metaphysical perspective on our fears of upheaval and calamity during humanity's transitional times. Quote, "That which is hidden will come out, and there will be battle between dark and light. The dark is ignorance, and it will create its own defeat. Those who lash out are uncomfortable operating in the light, and there are many acting out now. They are intolerant, and anyone incompatible with their beliefs is considered the enemy. This is because they are still operating in the old energies, the old paradigm. I ask you not to look at change and consider it chaos. I implore you to look at what is and see it differently, and see it in an inspiring way. Connect the dots and celebrate something you didn't expect." Number 6, demonstrate the higher way through simple acts of kindness. Kindness is one thing that will take us to the next level. Kindness is your helpful, supportive, and uplifting words and actions. Kindness is an expression of the divine qualities of acceptance, allowance, non-judgment, compassion, and perhaps the most important key to making the shift to a new earth: kindness. The world does not need more cleverness or sarcasm. It needs more kindness. Simple acts of kindness are the force that will birth our new world and keep you in vibrational harmony with it. Shower everyone and everything with kindness and watch the magic happen. Finally, number 7, meditate, meditate, meditate. Meditation could be the single most important and powerful practice that there is to change the world. Meditate alone. Meditate in groups. Meditate in worldwide gatherings that are taking place now. Come early on Sundays and meditate with us at 9:30 in Studio B before the gathering. Birthing the new world. Tremendous changes are rapidly approaching that will herald the arrival of a new era. As the beliefs, institutions, systems of the old paradigm begin to shake, crumble, and morph radically in front of us, stay unwaveringly centered in your new consciousness. And you will successfully join the new earth and participate in a new era of humanity. The bottom line is not whether or not you believe that a solar shift is imminent or that global warming is real. The truth for me, and I hope for you too, must be go on. Whatsoever we embody and express creates the world in which we live. That's the bottom line. Let each of us live our lives and be a living example on which this new era is grounded. Let acceptance, allowance, non-judgment, forgiveness, compassion, love and kindness guide our way to the manifestation of a wonderful new era where cooperation, harmony, peace, and prosperity for all will flourish. In peace and love for self, the community, and planet Earth, I'm Reverend Arvel, co-founder of the Center of Universal Light in Cottonwood, Arizona. I thank you. Before we pass the blessing baskets, let's take a deep breath and close our eyes. Let's draw in that love that is surrounding us. Let's draw it into our energy bubble around our bodies. Let's feel that love for ourselves. Let the beauty of that love open your heart even greater. As we focus on our breathing, let our consciousness once again come into our heart centers. In deep gratitude and thanksgiving, we open our hearts together in a community of loving oneness. We are united in our spiritual quest to live in the arms of a new earth. A new earth that we create, where acceptance, allowance, non-judgment, forgiveness, compassion, love, and kindness guide our way to the manifestation of a wonderful new era where cooperation, harmony, peace, prosperity will flourish for everyone. We are sincere in our faith that we are awakening into a great shift of consciousness that will propel us into the fourth dimension and a new earth. And we focus our attention on this new beginning and not on the crumbling of the third dimension. Help us release our emotional baggage. Help us stay in sacred neutrality. Help us stay out of the drama and focus on a smooth transition. Help us be strong enough to send everyone unconditional love and forgiveness. We accept that the old will fall and maintain our highest vision for a new earth through random acts of kindness. In return, we ask that the turbulence pass us by. We have been born for this moment. We were born for this time. We have awakened to our calling, and we boldly go forth with love in our hearts. For self, the community, and planet Earth. No.
I love when you start.